Welcome everybody to something a little bit different. With Chapter 7 quite literally just around the corner, I decided to rank every season of Fortnite from best to worst. Now before we begin, remember this is just my opinion, and that if you think something should be higher, you're wrong. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's completely up to opinion, of course. Now yeah, I'm definitely trying something new on this channel, so if you do like it, make sure to leave some comments down below. Just let me know what can be improved, that kind of thing. But with that long ass intro out of the way, let's get straight into things. Alright, so for this ranking, we're going to split off into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different categories. Mythic, Legendary, Epic, Rare, Uncommon, Common, and Floor Loot. Alright, so we started off in the first category, Floor Loot, and at the number 38 spot, we're going to put Chapter 4, Season 3. I think this is the worst season of all time. I mean, even when you mention the name Wilds to a Fortnite player, they still shudder in fear. It's potentially one of the worst seasons the game has ever gone through. I mean, do I even need to mention the almost 2-month break where there was no content? Do I need to mention the no movement until maybe the last month of the season? Not helping it, it came after 2 of the best seasons Fortnite's ever put out. Hint, hint, they're going to be a bit higher up on this list. But yeah, I cannot think of a single Fortnite season that was worse than this. Alright, at number 37, following it up very quickly, we have Chapter 2, Season 6. Now, listen, I know it is the basic take to say, but it just wasn't a good season of Fortnite. When you have a loot pool with items deliberately designed to be bad, it's just not going to be a fun season to play, and that's simply it. The loot pool was too weak and too overpowered. The map changes were absolutely dreadful. I mean, some people don't remember, most of it wasn't on the building grid. Of course, you had the world's most useless mythic items with, I don't know, was it the boots you had to walk halfway across the island to get, and all it gave you was like a triple jump? Listen, I'm sorry, anybody who likes this season, you need to get yourself checked out. It was one of the worst seasons of all time. Alright, and at number 36, listen, this is going to shock a lot of people. It's Chapter 2, Season 1. Now, listen, as somebody that used to defend the hell out of this season, I understand all of the good points. I mean, you had one of the best Winterfests of all time. You had the Halloween event. You had, obviously, a whole new map, which was huge for the time in Fortnite. And I think this could be a top 10 season of all time if it didn't last for almost 150 days. Now, listen, I can excuse many things, but a season taking up almost a third of the year is absolutely insane to me. I'm sorry, it has to be all the way down here for way too long. Same as Wilds, it just had a content drought. Alright, and coming up next is Season X, obviously the season that came before this. Now, do I need to mention why this is down here? I think we all know it. We all know why it's down here. It's got to be the mechs, right? The mechs were an absolute menace. Single-handedly almost killed the entire game. Listen, as somebody that kind of loves this season, I think it was some of the best content we've had in Fortnite history. You know, an entire new point of interest every single week. I'm sorry, the mechs just completely ruined that season. It should have been generational. It should have been one of the best seasons of all time. They just ruined it at the last moment, and that's why it's all the way down there. And following up that, at number 34, is Galactic Battle. Now, this is going to be an interesting one, because mini-seasons are on this list, and I have to consider the 30-day runtime. But you know what? For this season, I think 30 days was still too much. There was simply not enough in this season to last the entire time, and you felt it in those last few weeks. I mean, seriously, I have never seen the community more united on absolutely hating on a season. It was insane. But yeah, no, between bringing back planes, an absolutely mediocre loot pool with everything being blaster rifles, it just felt so boring. So that's how it ended up in the spot it's in. Now listen, I know I'm going to get absolutely slammed for this one, because honestly, I've been seeing a lot of nostalgia for it recently. It's Chapter 5, Season 1, Underground. Now, I have full named this season. I think this is one of the worst seasons we've ever had. I mean, obviously, coming right off the back of Fortnite OG, pivoting directly into a season that is the least Fortnite-y Fortnite has been in its entire run, I think was the biggest mistake Epic Games could have made. I mean, obviously, there was a couple of weeks at the beginning where the movement was, like, really weird. I didn't like that whatsoever. It just felt too realistic. It had no whimsy. It had no color, no life to it. It was grey and desaturated, and I hated it so much. Alright, and coming in at number 33, it is Chapter 2, Season 5, 0 Point. But I think it is the quintessential mid-Fortnite season. And of course, I'm gonna put it down here as well, because it really was the breaking point for Fortnite collaborations. It was a test to see how many they could put into a season without it feeling bloated. And honestly, it's one of the biggest reasons we have the seasons we do now. You know, where there's, what, 2 collaboration skins in a battle pass. There's like 10 collabs in a single season. It all comes down back to this season. You can trace back so many of the issues modern Fortnite has back to this season. Alright, and following up, this is going to be a bit of a controversial one as well. Some people do like it. It's Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 8. Now, obviously, being the final season in Chapter 2, you'd expect it to be, you know, some kind of big, monumental, huge change of thing. But then people loaded into it on the first day after, like, the huge explosion of the base ship back in Chapter 2 Season 7's live event. And they logged in only to find, what, a couple of ruins? I think the word that can be used to summarize this season is let down. This season let me down so much. Alright, and listen, next up is a season I don't really have much to say about. It is Chapter 1, Season 1. Now, obviously, I wasn't really around to play this the first time, but Fortnite OG earlier this year gave me a chance to replay it, and you know what? I get it. It really did feel magical. It felt so weird. The game was in a completely stripped back state. This is baseline for a Fortnite season. But being that also comes with a ton of issues because it just is. There's nothing really much I can say about this season of Fortnite. It is just purely the essence of the game. So that's why it's all the way down here. Now, following it up is a bit of a weird one. It's Chapter 5, Season 2, Miss Immortals. Listen, I want to say I do not like Chapter 5 at all, but I was really enjoying this season. It felt really good. But then, around halfway through, they added a weapon that made this season feel so miserable. And of course, I'm talking about waterbending. I'm sorry, this weapon absolutely steamrolled every single other weapon in this loot pool. It was basically a hit scan weapon. If you've ever had a chance to actually use it, it literally feels like a hit scan weapon. And of course, with Chapter 5, everything has bullet drop. So I mean, this item, it just ruined the feel of the season. It made everything feel so miserable. And then of course, even further along, like maybe it was like a week or two later, they replaced every single Greek item, completely removing the theming with some random like avatar mythics, and half of them weren't even good. I don't even know what Epic Games was thinking on that one. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, it sits right in the middle of the uncommon tier. I just really don't think it's any good. Okay, and at the number 27 spot, we have Chapter 1, Season 9. Now, this season, it holds a very special place in my heart. It's where I got my first, like, non-LTM, non-nothing, no cheating, no being carried, my first true solo win. Do I think it's a good season, though? No, I think it was as mid could get. I mean, the POIs were mediocre. I mean, you just had a worse tilted. You had a better retail goal. I'm going to get shot for that one. But I think Mega Mall clears any other version of retail goal. I mean, coming off of a season which I regard super highly, it's going to be all the way up this list. I think it is one of the best seasons of all time. I think it was mediocre, and there's nothing really else you can say about that. Although it did have the Wix Bounty LTM, and that was pretty fire. Okay, and coming up next, we have Absolute Doom. Now, listen, Absolute Doom, very mixed bag. The only reason it's really up here this high, it would have easily fallen behind Chapter 5 Season 1 if it wasn't for Fortnitemares. Honestly, that was the most fun I have had with the game since Fortnite OG. Obviously, you had the hover jets, which was absolutely miserable. You couldn't actually shoot anybody. A weapon like that should never have been introduced to a non-hit scan season. I just think a lot of decisions in that season was a mistake. And, like, especially as a zero build player, I think that was such an unfair season of Fortnite. All you needed was the jetpack, Captain America's shield, and you could literally steamroll the entire lobby. It was insane. Alright, we move into the rare tier. First up is Chapter 3 Season 2, Resistance. Now, I think we're actually starting to get into some seasons that, like, I would consider pretty decent. Every season going forward from this one is one I would be happy to go back and play, like, maybe a week more of. You know what? With Resistance, I think it was a perfectly serviceable season of Fortnite. I mean, obviously, you had the insane loot pool, potentially the best Chapter 3 felt in terms of, like, gunplay. The map changes? I'm not a big fan of the map changes, honestly. There's definitely a couple of Chapter 3 seasons that have better map changes, and they will be higher up on this list. And the whole, like, war mechanic was really cool, where you had to, like, battle for point of interest. Obviously, it was entirely rigged, but it, you know, it made you feel like you were fighting a war. And obviously, that's the whole point of the season. For what it wasn't that bad of a season. Okay, I'm sorry, I got the number in a bit mixed up. But coming up next is Fortnite Paradise. Now listen, I think this season was fun. Shoot me. I know everybody likes to dog on this season, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it had one of the coolest gameplay trailers of all time. That, seriously, go look it up if you ever had the chance. And you had, like, insanely creative items like the chrome splash. You could, like, seriously, you could just go through an opponent's wall. You could turn yourself into a blob. You had all the interesting floating POIs. I think this is a decent season of Fortnite. Alright, at the number 24 spot, we have Chapter 1, Season 2. I'm definitely going to get flamed for this one in the comments. Honestly, past adding Tilted Towers, which honestly, we have seen come back so many times, I'm burnt out of Tilted Towers High. I really don't think this was that good of a season. I mean, obviously, we're still really early on in the game's life cycle, so you can't really knock it for much. but it didn't have much either. And I definitely think that the season that came after was basically just the same. And talking about that, we have Chapter 1, Season 3. I could literally say all the same things about Chapter 1, Season 2 that I've said for this one, except it was slightly better. We had all the loot pool additions. We obviously had Lucky Landing. You had like tons of new additions to the game. I mean, like, some of these additions have stuck through the game's identity to this day. I think this was just a really good season. Hey, but you know what? I'm going to stop putting it off because I know I'm going to get flamed for the season I've put after this. And that season is indeed Fortnite Chapter 5, Season 3, Wrecked. No, you have to hear me out. You have to hear me out. I think that this was by far the best season of Chapter 5. I don't think it was any good, but you know what I'm ranking these seasons by? It's how Fortnitey they feel. And listen, you can slander it, you can call it what you want. There is no denying that Chapter 5, Season 3 could not have happened in any other game apart from Fortnite. It was insane. Alright, so we're now heading into the epic rarity of my Fortnite season ranking. I gotta say, this ranking is stacked. I know some of the seasons in this tier are gonna be some people's number ones, and I'm gonna get so flamed for it in the comments, but you know what? It's my opinion. If you think something should have been bumped up, make sure to leave a comment down below. I would love to talk to other people about this. Alright, but enough of that. We're gonna get into our first pick, which is Chapter 1, Season 6. Now listen, this season does hold a special place in my heart because it's the first one I ever played. It's what got me into the game, and I downloaded the game properly in Season 7, which honestly I think was definitely better than this season. There's a way I like to describe this season, especially playing it in OG recently. All I can think about playing it is that it really does feel like Season 5 Part 2. And I hold this opinion very closely to myself. If this season was made today in modern Fortnite, it would have only been a mini season. There just simply wasn't enough going on for it to be a full season. And that's why I think it was the most mid season of Chapter 1. I think it had some really good additions. I mean, the idea of a moving point of interest that moves across games is so cool. I wish it'd bring it back. Yeah, no, honestly, I don't think very highly of this season, but I think it's okay. I think it's better than everything that's come before this. Alright, and I've just mentioned it. Coming up at the number 20 spot, we have Chapter 1, Season 5. Now listen, I think this is where Fortnite really began to hit their stride. Obviously, the first 4 seasons of Fortnite. Now, listen, I think one of those 4 was better than this season, and it's going to come up very shortly. But honestly, this season is where Fortnite felt the most like Fortnite. I think this is Chapter 1's first peak. Now, I do think there was a higher peak. Obviously, you had the horrendous spray meta. Now, some people like to glaze it nowadays, but remember, people were talking about it like it was the devil back when it was happening. So that's why it's ended up like way at the bottom of the epic tier. I think it's good. I just think there were better Chapter 1 seasons. And yet another controversial one. I'm going to be saying that a lot. It's the Fortnite community, but we have Chapter 3, Season 3, Vibin'. Now, listen, a lot of people like to dunk on this season, like saying it was kind of like boring. But it wasn't really. If you think about it, you had one of the best locations of all time. You had Rave Cave. You had like ballers all around the map, which I think ballers are such a fun movement item. I mean, you had a pretty good battle pass, I'll tell you that much. I still use a couple skins from it. Oh my god, I love Eevee so much. But honestly, I think this is where the Chapter 3 map peaked. Map specifically. Obviously, you can't go without mentioning that this was definitely just one season-long party for like Donald Mustard leaving. And god, you know what? I do wish Donald Mustard would come back. But if this was his way of capping it off, I'm glad he capped it off this way. It was a fun season. It doesn't have to be the best season of all time. It can just be fun. Alright, but following up that, Chapter 1, Season 4, Worlds Collide. Obviously had like the first major map change that happened in relation to lore, which was the meteor hitting Dusty Depot, turning it into the much superior, in my opinion, Dusty Divot. Now, I remember being around as this was happening. I was watching videos on YouTube. Obviously, I wasn't into it yet. That happened like a few months later. But I still think this is one of the coolest seasons Fortnite has ever done. It's where their identity was the strongest. It just felt perfect. It felt perfect. I don't think Fortnite has had more attention on it than this season had. And you know what? It was pretty good. Now listen, I'm going to get a lot of flack for putting this one ahead of this one, so I'm going to say you can definitely swap these around. I think they're interchangeable. But we have Chapter 6, Season 4, Shock and Awesome, sitting right at number 17. I think this season was fun. I don't understand all the hate this season got. It was such a fun meta, especially once they took the medallions out. I think the medallions made this game feel absolutely miserable. I mean, if you had all 3 medallions in this season, you could quite literally just fly. And I think that was stupid. I think medallions are the worst thing this game added. It feels so much better without them. Now listen, this is definitely a hard one to rank because it clearly has 2 sets separate seasons. You have, obviously, you know, the whole bug invasion, and then you have everything that came after it. You know, there was like a 2-month time jump, everything healed, there was no more bugs. Then, of course, you had Fortnite mares and all that kind of stuff. It's 2 very different seasons, and I think one of those was much better than the others. But honestly, I think this was just a pretty decent season. Try saying that 10 times fast. And you know what? Following that up on the number 16 spot, it is Chapter 4, Season 4, Last Resort. Now, if you played this season, you know how fun it was. Oh my god. I mean, obviously, like, landing on one of the 3 heist locations, breaking in, killing all the players, sneaking past the guards, smashing the glass, and then escaping out with a rocket ram. It was the most heist-feeling season of Fortnite. Now, is it the best heist season in Fortnite? No, I actually think there's 2 more seasons on this list that do the heist theme better than Chapter 4, Season 4 did, but I think it still did a very good job. So, that's why it's ended up where it is. And you know what? Talking about good seasons, you have Chapter 6, Season 3, which was super. Now, I think this was a really good season of Fortnite. I mean, of course, you had the introduction of the ranking system, which I think was really good in this specific season, but I think Shock and Awesome took this concept and ruined it. But this one, it was really cool. I mean, obviously, the more people you eliminate, the more, like, actions you do, like opening chests, that kind of thing, and you got points. And the more points you get, the more kind of chests you could unlock. And honestly, and you can tell by the fact that I'm gushing about this, is it was easily the best thing about the season. I mean, obviously, it's second best, actually. I forgot to mention the Kill Switch's revolvers. The Kill Switch revolvers are some of the best guns we have had in Fortnite history. They would get to, like, number 2, number 3 spot if I ever ranked them. I just think this season was good. It was good. But following it up with definitely a very controversial pick. I know a lot of people don't like this season. I know the community is very split on this season. Some people despise this season, and then the other half absolutely love and adore it. It was either the best season of all time, or it was the worst season of all time. And of course, we're talking about Chapter 1, Season 7. Now listen, Chapter 1 is well known for being potentially one of the most balanced times in Fortnite history. There wasn't really a time where it felt unfair, apart from this season. In this season, you had both the Infinity Blade and the planes. Like, seriously, both at the exact same time. It was so ridiculously broken, but the vibes were impeccable. This was like the most Christmassy season of all time. But this season just felt special. You just had to be there. And you know what? Honestly, that's the best tagline you can give to this season. You just had to be there. Hey, and you know what? Following up, there's another Season 7. Chapter 2, Season 7, which was, I believe, the Alien season, coming up at the 13th spot. I think this was a really fun season of Fortnite. I have no idea why they included Tilted Towers in the season promo. I don't think that was anywhere on the map. Correct me if I'm wrong. But honestly, I think it was really fun. It was just a fun season of Fortnite. You had fun items like the Gravitron, like the Plasma Rifle. It was fun. You had so much content. You had like that little mini game. We'll never see something like that in Fortnite history ever again. The mini game where you get taken away mid-match. We will never get a season like Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 7 ever again. It was just so good. Hey, I'm following that one up. We have Chapter 4 Season 1. Now, I think easily this is the best the game has looked. It was so pretty. Seriously, you still see people talking about these chapters. I mean, go on any Fortnite Twitter thread talking about graphics, any Reddit posts, any, like, TikTok posts, I don't really know. People still throw around that this was the best the game looked. It hit a perfect middle ground between like ultra realistic graphic that we have now and the Fortnite cartoony art style, and it would actually reach like into legendary and mythic tiers if the map wasn't so small. I mean, until like this recent Simpsons season, it was like, I think it was the smallest Fortnite map of all time. I think this map almost had it all, and there's a season that comes after it that perfects this map. And you know what? Following that one up at number 11, we have Chapter 6 Season 2's Lawless. Now this is the best a heist season has ever felt. Now it's definitely not the best heist season, it's a very loose term, Fortnite players like to use it a lot, but no, this is definitely a heist season, and it is absolutely the best the heist part of the season has ever felt. I mean, especially I still remember like robbing a train. You'd like jump on the top, you'd take out the turrets. It just felt so good to rob a bank in this season. And obviously, if a season based around robbing banks, that's what you need to do. That's what it needs to be good at. And that's what it was good at. And I think it's really good. I think Dilbits were easily the best mid-match objective they've ever come up with. And obviously, you can't finish talking about this season without mentioning the best item in the game, which was Midas's Gilded Eye Drum Gun. Oh my god, that weapon. I still have dreams about it. I just think it was easily the best item in the entire game, that entire season, and I want it back so badly. Okay, and this is going to be a bit of a bold pick. People normally forget about this season entirely, to be honest, but at the number 10 spot, we're now entering into Legendary, so this is what I think are some of the best seasons of Fortnite. We've got Mythic above it, but I think these are just really good seasons. We have Chapter 2, Season 3. Now, the thing about this season is that it gets overshadowed so often by the season that came before it. But no, this was a really solid summer season. It had immaculate vibes. Like, seriously, covering almost half of the map. I believe it was more than half of the map. Just in water was such a fun little addition. It felt like prime Fortnite again in those first few weeks because nobody could do like insane movement. Nobody could really waste those materials because where were you going to get them? You weren't going to get them like from a tree. All those trees are underwater. So I think it was just a really fun gameplay addition. Honestly, I think it was a really underrated season. I think it was one of the GOATs. I think it should be considered one of the GOATs. Hey, and you know what? Coming up next at number 9, we're talking about GOATs. You cannot go without mentioning Chapter 2, Season 4. Now, while I don't really like collaboration seasons, obviously you can see seasons like Galactic Battle and Absolute Doom are like way down the list. I think they're atrocious. This was their first time at doing a full collaboration season, and you can tell because it still had a little bit of Fortnite charm in it. I just think it was a really good season. The loot pool was really good. The map changes were really good, especially once you got Stark Industries. That was one of the best locations in Fortnite history. I just think it was really fun. But I think this is one of the best seasons of all time. If you took away all the Marvel branding, I think it still would have worked and people would have loved it even more. If Fortnite is going to do a collaboration season, it should be more like this than Absolute Doom. And honestly, I think that's why Galactic Battle failed. Hey, but you know, you're probably waiting for it. You're wondering where it's been all this time. Coming up at the number 8 spot, we have Chapter 2, Season 2. Okay, listen, do I need to even begin to glaze this, or can the community speak for itself? It is one of the highest rated seasons on Fortnite.gg and has been for almost half a decade. That's kind of insane if you think about it. But do I think it has some flaws? Yeah, I think it has a lot of flaws. I think the same as Chapter 2, Season 1, it went on for far too long. Now, obviously, there was a certain world event happening at the time that caused that to happen, but it just felt like it dragged on in those last few weeks because obviously they weren't meant to be those last few weeks. It was meant to end a month earlier than it did. But obviously between like spy games, the introduction of Battle Pass rooms, which I absolutely think they should bring back, they are the coolest thing in the world. I just think it's one of the GOATs. I think it is really good, but you're gonna be kind of shocked by the one I put ahead of it, and that's because it's the Simpsons season. Now listen, of course I'm gonna consider the fact that I'm comparing a mini season to one of the longest seasons in Fortnite history, but the Simpsons season, honestly, I was hating on it. Like, before it came out, when there was rumors of it, I was ready to be like a day one hater. But you know what? I fell in love with it instantly. It's such a fun season. It's weird because in a season entirely stripped of any Fortnite assets, it's pure Springfield, pure Simpsons, it's somehow wrapped around to being the most Fortnitey Fortnite has felt since potentially Season OG, which is coming up very soon. I just think it's a very good season, and I think it's much better than everything that's come before it. I may be wrong. It may get ruined in its last week. Obviously, I'm recording this about a week before the season even ends. But no, honestly, as I'm playing it, it's just a really fun season. So yeah, it's ended up right at the very end of Legendary tier. But hey, coming into the Mythic tier, this is the best of the best. This is what I think Fortnite should aim to be always. I think all of these seasons here, I would give Epic Games money to send us back to these seasons. And we're going to start it off with Chapter 6, Season 1. Now that is very controversial, but I think it is one of the best seasons of Fortnite, and I do not throw that tag around lightly. The map was absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, you had that opening shot everybody likes to use. I'm just going to put some images of my own on the screen. These are what I took on my PlayStation 4 on day one. This is just how pretty the game looked in that first season. It is easily the best the game has looked. I always prefer Fortnite to be a little bit stylized, a little bit bright, big puffy clouds kind of thing. And honestly, this season just hit a perfect vibe. It's easily the best season in its own chapter, and God, it was such an improvement over Chapter 5. God, it just felt so good. It felt so good. Hey, and you know what? We've entered our top 5, and what are we going to start it off with? We're going to start it off with Chapter 1, Season 8. This is going to be an incredibly controversial one, but I think Season 8 is by far the best Chapter 1 ever felt. You had the map, which I think it was the best map of Chapter 1, absolutely. You had the loot pool, you had the cannons, I mean, you had the flint knock pistol introduced, so much fun. You had the boom ball, which was one of the best items in Fortnite history. You had an incredible battle pass introducing one of the biggest skins of all time, Peely. Now, your opinion on Peely may be divided, but you cannot deny that he is absolutely part of the Fortnite iconography going forward. I mean, you had incredible map changes, as I mentioned before. You had Lazy Lagoon, you had the volcano. It's one of the best seasons the game has ever had, and it deserves to be at least in the top 5. Now, following that glaze fest up, I'm gonna have to put Chapter 4 Season 2 Mega. Now, it was the best season of one of the best chapters of all time. Listen, shoot me. I know, I think Chapter 4 was goated. I think it was the most Fortnite-y the game has felt, apart from obviously Chapter 1. You had like insane stuff like the ODM gear, I believe that was the Attack on Titan stuff. You had the Kinetic Blade back in its prime, no durability. You had one of the best battle passes of all time. You had Mega City. You had all the beautiful Japanese-inspired points of interest. I just think this season of Fortnite felt so good to play. People who haven't played it won't understand how smooth that gameplay felt. I mean, you had the introduction of the Loot Lake Island, which was really cool. I really hope they bring that back. But yeah, no, honestly, this season introduced so much, did so much, and I think it easily deserves its place in the top 5. Alright, so now we're in the top 3, and I think literally any of these seasons could be swapped around with each other. You know, take that into consideration. I think that any of these seasons are just as good as the other. And we're starting off with Chapter 2 Remix. Now listen, same as the Simpsons season, I was ready to dog on this season coming into it. I thought they were going to like absolutely ruin Chapter 2 by shoving collaborations inside of it. You know, I'd come off Fortnite OG, I was expecting a celebration. You know, while I still think we should have got a celebration of the chapter, I still think that this season was one of the GOATs. I think it was so much fun. I have not had as much fun in Fortnite as I did in this season since it came out. In recent times, I think this is the best season. Like nothing has topped it since. I mean, you had Eminem's minigun, which played Rap God. That was one of the best items of all time, and it was really funny as well. I mean, it was really funny actually. If you look at my Chapter 5 rewind, because it includes Remix in the rewind, you can see that I played this 30-day season more than I played any other season in Chapter 5. I just think that's really funny. I thoroughly enjoyed this season, and you know what? I have nothing bad to say about it. It was one of the most stunning seasons of Fortnite I have ever played. Hey, but you know what? While we're still talking about mini seasons, we may as well talk about the best one we have ever had, which was Fortnite OG. Now, dude, honestly, you cannot talk about Fortnite OG without, like, a little tear running down your eye. It was one of the best seasons we have ever had. Now, listen, did it have its issues? Yes. But for those first few weeks, everybody you knew was playing Fortnite. Everybody you knew. I mean, what was it, like a 14 million player peak? When have we ever seen that in Fortnite history? We've never seen that, ever. And I don't think we're ever going to see it again. I think the game literally could not get any more popular than it was in those 3 weeks. And honestly, if it wasn't for Fortnite OG, I think Fortnite definitely would have died off in Chapter 5. I think people would have simply just stopped playing. But coming up at the #1 spot, it can only be one season, which is Chapter 3, Season 1. Now listen, a lot of people like to dunk on Chapter 3, but you tell me the game has ever felt any better than Chapter 3. Like, now, obviously, you could definitely swap those 3 around, but this is easily my favorite season of all time. You had one of the best Winterfest of all time. You had the return of Tilted Towers, which obviously for the first time it happened was so cool. That day when Tilted Towers finally unfroze fully, it was insane. I have never seen more people land at a location in my entire life. I remember being so hyped coming home from school, just ready to play this game. I mean, you had the Spider-Man shooters, you had the Sanctuary, which can I just say, the 7 of my favorite parts of the game. I've mained the Scientist for about 1,800 hours. I think this chapter was just such a stunning, beautiful look for the game. And honestly, in terms of Season 1s of a chapter, I don't think it's ever been beaten. Okay, so that's the end of the tier list. Thank you all so much for sticking around, but please do stick around a little bit longer. I just want to let you all know we do have a Discord server. There is a link in my YouTube bio. You're going to have to copy it because YouTube won't let me link things in my description yet because I've only got 100 subscribers. By the way, on that note, please help me get to the point where I can actually do that. Like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, no, do click that notification bell if you have subscribed because I try to make weekly content. It's a bunch of fun. I mean, this is a new kind of content I'm trying out. I did miss a week last week because I was thoroughly ill. I'm still kind of ill making this video, so seriously, any support on this video will be greatly appreciated. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate you sticking all the way to the end because it is quite a long video. But anyways, take care, have fun, and enjoy Chapter 7 coming up soon. Bye bye.